Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Same Old Arsenal podcast, episode 76. Barcodes have checked out. Beat Newcastle last night 2-0 at the Emirates to see us go up to third in the league. Brilliant stuff. The highest position we've been all year. Brilliant. Above the Spurs for the first, I think above the Spurs for only the second time this year. Is that? I think I'm right in saying that. Above Man United, above Chelsea, and only the two, the big two, let's say, above us. If you like a bet at the weekends, please don't forget to go and check out FansBet. Links below in the description. Choose the Same Old Arsenal when you sign up as your branch, and you will help us along our way, putting stuff towards the podcast. Lee, how are you, sir?
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Good weekend, absolutely splendid Mother's Day, wasn't it? Taking my mum out was very nice, and then before that, watching Spurs, just do a Spurs thing when it was fantastic. You know what I mean?
Spursy, wasn't it?
It was, you know what I mean? I couldn't help but laugh and chuckle. I had to, you know what I mean? And anyway, so that was a very good Sunday. And then Monday, do you know what? I was very, very confident. We was just talking off air just now. I just watched the little highlights on Sky. Didn't realise when you're watching the game, you don't realise how good some of the football was. And some of the football I've just seen on there was absolutely brilliant. Opened them up. Listen, Newcastle, very organised team. Defensively, I'm looking in that first 10 minutes. They look, they packed the midfield out, and I thought, cool, this is going to be hard. But the way we was moving the ball about, knocking it about, Mesut Özil was getting into little pockets. I have to say with Mesut Özil yesterday, I watching him, a good watch at him yesterday. He gets into little pockets and there weren't a lot of space in that game, Craig, but he was finding little pockets of space and, always looking to try and make things happen. And that's an art. I've got to say that it is an art. And to find space in congested areas. And he done that yesterday. And I thought he was looking to pull strings, trying to make little things happen. And I thought he was brilliant yesterday. And some brilliant performances yesterday. That I thought we defended well. They had one shot which was off target. I know they're not the most potent of sides, but the job was done. I thought it was a very, very professional performance yesterday, and under a little bit of pressure because we knew that what was at stake. And we're now we've got to produce those sort of performances away from home. And what I do feel is, and I said it yesterday as well, I feel we're in a good place. I feel like the team, the supporters are a good place. We had a brilliant performance against Spurs. Should have beat Spurs, really. That was So if we play to that ability and at that standard against the likes of Everton, which is we all know is going to be really, really tough, and Watford, we've got a very, very good chance of cementing top 3, top 4 now.
Absolutely. Harry, how are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Not too bad. Like Lee said, it was a good weekend in the end, and there's nothing better than a Monday night football, in my opinion. When you've had a crap day at work, Monday night you get to look forward to going to the Emirates and watching the likes of Mesut Özil pull the strings and really, win us the game, really. I mean, the performance, as Lee said, I think the key word there was professional. It was exactly that. It was brilliant to see us sort of just get the job done. Newcastle United were always going to come there and play the way they did. I don't think anyone was surprised by that. I've had I would say, misfortune of commentating on Newcastle this season twice, both in away games in London as well. And both times they done exactly that. They played with a back five. They packed out the midfield, and it doesn't matter who you are, they will make it difficult for you. So credit to Arsenal for breaking them down and doing what we did. We had a goal disallowed before the first one was actually given, so we kept plugging away. And I must admit, before Ramsey got that opener, I did think, this is going to be a really difficult night. So credit to Arsenal for getting a goal when they did, and that, as a result, drew Newcastle out a little bit. They're never a team that's going to come and bombard you. I've been saying this to friends like on the way back from the game. Benitez's idea is if we don't get humiliated, then that goal difference come the end of the season is an extra point for us. So that was always going to be the game plan, even at 1-0 down. But we kept plugging away. We got the second, and we're back in third position. Even if it is for a couple of days, it doesn't matter. It's the psychological boost that you get from doing that, and we're right in the mix now. And as Lee said, we've got some really difficult away games, and it's not a done deal yet that we're going to be in the top 4, but we're in a great position. If you told us at the start of the season, we'd have all taken this. So, it's great. Let's hope it continues and all focus on Everton now on Sunday.
It's a miracle.
I wouldn't go that far.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle that we're in the top 4. It's a miracle.
We have to play that one to Claude.
Yeah. Poor old boy. But sorry, mate, I didn't really. If you're watching or you do watch this, I didn't mean for you to take it that bad.
Triggered him. You've actually triggered him, like.
Yeah. Anyway, there we go. I think it's a miracle. I think it'd be a miracle if he finishes in the top 4. We'll come back to that later, anyway. Let's talk about the one player that both of you mentioned was Mesut Özil. Last night, absolutely brilliant. That was we sit here and people have heard me sit here and say, I want him to play like the Mesut Özil that I know. Last night was the perfect example. That's how I want Mesut Özil to play week in, week out. As Lee said, finding those little pockets of space, making stuff happen out of nothing. The vision of the man is it's ridiculous where he can see him. I mean, that ball to Aubameyang there in the second half, we sent him off down the right wing there, just didn't quite get to him. But the audacity to pass, to actually even try and give it to him there. Do you know the pass I'm talking about?
Yeah, the one that Aubameyang took the first time shot.
Yes, I think it was that one.
Yeah.
But what a ball! I mean, there's not many players in the league that have even seen it, let alone tried it. Do you know? Someone passing a bit of wind there.
No, sure. Emily opening the door. There's a bit of oil on it.
bit of WD won't go. Bit of WD. Lee, Mesut Özil last night. We spoke a couple of weeks ago about, do we think that him and Emery have had clear the air talks? Do we, or is it that I can't work it out? I just can't work out why he was, because let's have it right. He was quite poor during during games, and we sat here and we said that he hadn't played well and he didn't deserve his place in the team, and Emery's doing the right thing, dropping him. Now all of a sudden he comes back into he's back into the team, and we've pushed and we're back in the top 4. It can't be a coincidence, surely not.
No, I think that maybe something's been said, and and maybe Mesut Özil took it on board. This is how it's got to be. I think you have a look at the whole team, and I think it starts from Lacazette. The work rate of the team has got to be of a certain standard, and I think that Mesut Özil was bought into it. I will say this: those sort of games yesterday suit Mesut Özil. Home games when they're packed really tight in the defence. There's 90% possession of the ball, 8% possession of the ball, something like that. They're the games for Mesut Özil. The games that are not for Mesut Özil is when you're up the other end when you've got 30% of the play and 70% you're defending. So this again, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if Mesut Ozil's on the bench against Everton. Wouldn't surprise me. You know what I mean? Because trying to grind out a result or something. You know what I mean? I don't think that he will. I think that he's in that good a form at the moment. But that's the great thing about Emery at the moment. You just don't know what team he's going to put out, what system. Aubameyang not playing yesterday. Was a little bit of a shock. Mkhitaryan has come back to the team with lots of form and is now out of the side. So you just don't know what he's going to choose. But at this moment in time, I think if we go to Everton and play that sort of attack, I think that if we're going to play the two guys up front, then Mesut Ozil's got to be in the team. You know what I mean? To feed them too, as we said with the passes. But my worry is that we're not going to have as much of the ball as we did yesterday. So, it does make us a little bit weaker. But in saying that, I thought that Mesut done his work rate. I think it's a bit of a myth, Craig, also with his work rate. I had a good watch of him yesterday. He does put a shift in as well. He's not lazy by any chalk. But what I'm saying is that he won't put his body on the line and put himself diving into tackles. I watched you know, like Aaron Ramsey after about 5 minutes chasing back and diving into a tackle and winning it. He's not that sort of player, and I think that we've got to accept that that's the way he is. But there's lots of players that are over the generations that are like that, you know. But when he's doing what he's doing, when he plays like he does yesterday, if he doesn't make a tackle, you can forgive him because, you know, he's making things happen. And I think I watched a bit of a play yesterday, and the ball's pinging about in real areas. He just picks the ball up, slows it all down, and then you know, he dictated the tempo of play at times. And I think that's something that we're going to have. Particularly, what he done is at times with his passing and his touch, he took the sting out of anything Newcastle were going to do. He's got to do that in the away games now. Like, you know, when they're, you know, which Everton will have spells against us, when we get the ball, that's when Mesut's got to produce something out. In fact, I'll tell you what, I don't know if you noticed yesterday, he was very hard to knock off the ball as well. When he got the ball, they was trying to knock, there was a couple of times, but they was bouncing off. He kept the ball. Whether he's been strengthening up in the few weeks that he's been out of the team as well, you know. Sometimes also I think that if you're out of the team, you can watch what's going on. And I think that perhaps I'm not giving him enough credit for that. Like, he's probably watched a few games and thought, you know what, maybe he's right. Maybe I'm not doing this. Maybe I'm not doing that. So when I get back into the team, this is what I'm going to do. And he's done it. And, you know, I don't think you can, the last 3 or 4 games, criticise Mesut Özil any shape or form. And I look at, you know, as Harry says, he's commentated on Newcastle a few times. Tottenham, it took about 80 minutes to grind them down, and it was a goalkeeping mistake. You know, we opened them up on more than one occasion yesterday. I don't think there was nothing wrong with Aaron Ramsey's first goal, by the way. I've watched that. I don't know, you know what I mean? If that's down the other end, is he giving a penalty? Is he ill? Like, is he Zeka like? You know, and then the fourth goal, or which Lacazette, which should have been the fourth goal, if the other one was disallowed. Well, you know what I mean? He said it's handball. He actually says, yes, you handballed it. You know what I mean? Well, clearly showed it was a goalkeeper. Yeah. So to open up a team of that, what I would say, that well organised, you know, Mesut Ozil's got to take a lot of credit for that game yesterday. It wasn't just him, but, you know, it was. I felt he was the architect of opening them up on more than one occasion. I'll tell you what else I did like. I've got to say, some of the little intricate 1-2s when he dummied it one time, it went through, and then he got onto the next ball. Some splendid stuff to watch yesterday, like, you know. And when you're actually at the game, you don't really appreciate that as much as what you probably did, well, as I did till I see it on telly today.
What about you, Harry? Mesut Özil?
I think Mesut Özil deserves a lot of credit because a lot of people were on his back. He got left out of the team. I think I take a slightly different view on it in the sense that I think Emery's been proved wrong rather than Emery's pulled his socks up. I think that Mesut Özil gives us something that no other player gives us, and like Lee said, he pops up in those little pockets. Nobody else has the presence of mind in that midfield to do that, to get in those positions. 1 minute he's receiving the ball on the left flank, he's helping out the left winger. The next minute he's on the right, then he's taking it off the deep line midfield player. So he's always there and about. And for me, Mesut Özil was just on a different level in terms of football intelligence to most of the other players at that club. And so, you know, he deserves great credit for that. But also, I think with Mesut Özil, when people talk about his work rate, Lee's absolutely right when he says that it's a bit of a myth that he doesn't run. The thing is with pressing, and people are obsessed now with this pressing game. You know, ever since Klopp's come, Guardiola's come, everyone's obsessed with pressing from the front. Well, pressing is not just about everybody chasing the ball every single time. Pressing is about closing out spaces and channels. And often when you see a manager do it properly and you look deep into how a team do it, I use Guardiola's teams as an example. There was a really good piece of analysis a few years ago by Thierry Henry when he was talking about how Pep's teams press. And what you do is one goes and one closes out the channel. And sometimes being the one that closes out the channel and blocks out the space, what you're doing is you're forcing that player to hesitate, turn around, and then that gives the other player the opportunity to nick the ball. So for me, that is what Özil does. He doesn't do the, I'm going to go and clatter into you with all my might and try and knock you over. That's not Mesut Özil. But he's clever in the way he cuts out spaces. And he has been putting more of a shift in. That's right. There's no doubt about that. He's been getting back a lot more. He's made a few tackles in recent weeks as well. But I just think he's one of our best players. And if I'm Unai Emery and I've got goals to achieve, and all we ever talk about is the players that we don't have. Well, let's talk about the players that we do have and how we can get the maximum out of them, and in turn get the best out of the team. So for me, Ozil deserves a lot of credit for not really throwing his toys out the pram, because if that had happened to another so-called superstar, we could have seen a very different outcome. So credit to Ozil for that, and credit to Emery as well, because I know a lot of people criticise me when I disagree with some of his decisions, but at least he's not stubborn to the point where he could do more damage. For me, he's realised that certain things he was probably doing were wrong. He's gone back to how he started the season, really. He's gone back to basics in a lot of ways. And for me, he deserves credit for that, because he steered us back on the right path, and fingers crossed we can kick on.
Absolutely. Good evening to you all in the chat box. Thanks for joining us. Got a few of you in there already. Some questions coming in. We'll come back to them. Like the new visual layout on here, Craig. Oh, goodness me. The hassle I've had with this new visual layout, you will not believe. The last two podcasts have been a bit of a disaster, really. All down to my computer. But big thanks to my mate Will, who's in the chat box, actually. Hello, mate. Thank you very much. And you know what I'm thanking you for, so I won't say no more. But big thanks to him. We seem to be back on track. If you've got questions, keep them in. I will be scrolling through them later on. And remember, if you want to donate to the podcast, you can by using the super chat button, if you want to. I'm not forcing everyone to buy me my dinner. Do you know what, actually? We find out tomorrow if we've made the finals of the FBAs. We'll find out tomorrow. They were on to me in the email. So hopefully you all voted for us, and I'll have to get on a plane and go to Manchester. It's at the Etihad, isn't it?
It is. At least it's not Old Trafford.
Well, yeah, true. Yeah, true. What are you going to wear?
Don't worry about black
So,
size. I've got loads of them in the shop.
Dicky bows?
Dicky bows, I've got loads of them in the shop. Like, I leave them in their pockets, don't they? So I've got loads of them. Don't worry about them.
Oh, all right then. You bring the Dicky bow then, and I'll just bring a shirt.
I'll Dicky bows. Don't worry about that.
Shirt and a trouser. That's all right then. Can you bring the whole suit?
Well, I could try and sort you out. Like, if someone's left it over 3 months, I can sort of see if there's one there at
Oh, has it got to be over 3 months? Is it?
Yeah, before you. So
what if you tell him it's going to take a week, and then you bring it for Craig and then take it back off?
Yeah. Just try. What measurements are you?
Oh God, I don't know. 40-year-old average dad. whatever that is. Right, let's get back on track.
Yes, sorry.
Another player yesterday I thought done very well, but came in for a bit of stick. Was poor old Mustafi. We spoke about it a bit off air. His passing was a bit erratic, let's say, in the first half. But when called upon, he done his job, Lee.
You want me to praise Mustafi, like?
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's right. Yeah.
When called upon yesterday,
I'm going to say he done okay. He done what he had to do. His passing in the first half was as poor as I've seen anybody. But you know, defending wise, I thought he done really well. When he had to win his headers, he did. When he had to win his tackles, he did. He went on a lovely mazy run in the second half. Like, I don't know if you remember that, like, but they're still looking for the ball from the cross. But it was a lovely mazy run. And I'll tell you what, I'm no kidding. I thought he done okay yesterday. Like, there was a couple of times. Rondin, who's a good player, by the way, good strong player, went through. I don't know if you noticed, he bashed Socrates off at one stage. He didn't do that to Mustafi last night. Every time Mustafi had to go with him, so he done well. And there was a couple of good tackles, particularly in the second half when he took the ball, good timing of the tackle, and dare I say that he's improving.
Big statement.
It's a big statement. Well, I think he's, a lot of people only want to talk about. I think the thing about it is that people only want to talk about the bad stuff he done. No one wants to talk about, the tackles he was putting in last night, and I thought he done really well, Harry. Is it just me or?
No, I thought he did really well as well, and I think Mustafi's just one of those players that he's got that stigma about him now, where we all pick on him every week. And I know, he's let us down at times. But for me, and Lee mentioned his passing, and there was some bad passes in the first half. But one thing that got on my nerves at the Emirates last night was there was a couple of scenarios in the first half where he was playing sort of short passes back to Bernd Leno, and it all got a little bit messy. But the whole crowd were up on their feet going, "Oh, what's going on?" and really pissed off about it. But then I looked over at Unai Emery, and he was standing there applauding it, because whether we like it or not, Unai Emery wants to see Arsenal playing out from the back, and there is a risk associated with that. And he's following the manager's instructions. If he wasn't, he wouldn't be playing. So, to a degree, I understand the criticism. I understand the talk about his passing, but from the other point of view, he's doing what he's been asked to do in that sense. His defending was brilliant yesterday, and you're right when you say that Socrates got barged off the ball by Rondon. Well, Rondon would never keep up with Mustafi. That's the difference. Mustafi's sharp. He's a bit like Koscielny was in his younger days, the way he jumps into things and he gets in front of people and he plays on the front foot. Whereas, Socrates is a little bit, and people talk about him being fast and things, and he's not that fast really. It was that stat was about players reaching their maximum speed. So that's their maximum speed, not the maximum speed of the team. So that all needs to be taken into account as well. But like you said, he's done all right. He's a bit inconsistent. That's still a big problem for me. Do I think he's good enough going forward? Probably not. But he's not as bad as some people would have you believe. And I feel he gets picked on a little bit too much.
Absolutely. We seem to have lost Lee here. My phone's just gone off.
He's gone to get those ties.
He probably has. I've gone down. Are you two having the same problem? No, we're not. I don't want to know what you're doing off camera. See if we can get him back in here. Add to call. Add. New judges. Add. See what happens.
Should be back any minute.
See if we can get him in. Sorry about the old technicals. I'm pleased to say that it's not me though. We'll just anyway, we'll carry on. I'm sure he'll get back in somehow. He shall find his way back to us. Aaron Ramsey, a player that over the last few weeks, or the last few months, I was saying that I'm not too bothered about him going. I'm not too bothered about him going. He hasn't done much. This, that, and the other. But last night we really see what we're going to miss. The build up to the goal there, that flick with the boot, out to Laka, gets a bit of luck gets a bit of luck with it coming back. There's Lee. Gets a bit.
Actually, I'm there.
Gets a bit of luck with the ball coming back off the defender and sticks it straight in the bottom corner. 1-0 Arsenal. A player who didn't get enough praise for me last night. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. And Harry, I'm afraid I'm going to have to apologise to everyone that told me that we will miss Aaron Ramsey. So I apologise to you all because I'm on that side of the fence now. But we're going to miss him terribly, aren't we?
Yeah, we are, and it's typical, isn't it? It's just our luck that when he signs a deal somewhere else, he starts performing to top level. And he has performed at a top level before, but maybe there's more spotlight on it now because of the fact that he is leaving. I think one of the things I really want to praise Aaron Ramsey for is the fact that he's remained so professional, because it's easy to be distracted by something like that. And, I've had arguments with people online who have told me that this move that he's going for is not better for him, and it's not a bit. Well, I'm sorry, Juventus are winning Serie A every single year, and they're going to compete for the Champions League year in, year out as well. So this is a step up for Aaron Ramsey. He gets to play with the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo instead of Alex Iwobi. So he deserves this move, and I'm pleased for him. It's a shame that we're going to lose him, but I think Aaron Ramsey will set Serie A on fire. So I think it's a great move for him, and we're going to miss him. Of course we are, but he's been with us for a long time, and it's modern day football. It's very rare to see a player stay with a club for his entire career, isn't it? So there's no hard feelings on my part. I think that I've been maybe guilty in the past of underrating him at times. He has scored some really important goals for the club and deserves a lot of praise. But it is what it is, and let's build on the future. And it's just one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah, Lee, what you got to say about Aaron Ramsey?
Well, I've always been a big fan of Aaron Ramsey. I think that we're going to miss him when he's gone. Obviously, but I just echo what Harry's got to say there. His professionalism has been absolutely, well, unbelievable. Unbelievable. I felt he was doing okay before he signed the contract, but once he signed the contract with Juventus, I think he's got even better. Which is, he could have down tools after that, if I'll be honest, especially if you reported how much he's earning. But I genuinely think that he loves Arsenal. I can see that, with the way he plays, he's passionate, the way he scored yesterday, and the work rate that he puts in. As I said, he's putting in tackles. He ran himself into the ground last night, and obviously he hadn't done a lot of training because of the injury and that, and he's obviously come back quick. He could have just turned around and said, I don't want to risk injury here or whatever. But he's gone out there, and so much so that he's picked up some cramp, and I've just got so much admiration for him. And is there any other midfield player that can get that sort of goal in the Premier League, like coming through and getting that? They're hard to find. We're blessed. We've got the two guys up front that's scoring lots of goals, but his contribution from midfield and goals has got to be replaced. Mm-hmm. And I think they're going to find that very, very difficult. And what I think is amazing about it, I don't know if everybody's noticed it, every time Uri Emery gets asked a question about it, he dodges it completely. He should be a politician, you know what I mean? Because he just does not answer it, you know what I mean? He was on yesterday, and he just went on about waffling on about something completely different.
I saw that today, and I was like, "What are you going on about?
What is he going on about?" But he just does not answer the question. I think deep down, Emery's a little bit gutted that he's going. And do you know what? I think that Emery is Aaron Ramsey's sort of player. I think that. They're both getting the best out of each other. It's a shame that it's only going to be for 1 year, because I think that I thought he was brilliant again yesterday, and not only that, he's playing in a different position. He's playing a little bit more deep lined in these last couple of games. Now, this was sort of aimed at a little bit of a dig at Wenger. Oh, he couldn't play that role last year under Wenger because he was too exposed and all that. Well, he's certainly not doing that under Emery, because there's a more rigid sort of system put in place, and I think it suits not just Aaron Ramsey, but it suits everybody. You know what I mean? That players know exactly what they've got to do. They're being drilled to know exactly what happens in this scenario, that scenario, and I think it's benefited Aaron Ramsey. And I think it's a shame. What does annoy me a little bit about it is the people who are all slagging him off a year ago, 2 years ago, now are all on the bandwagon of how good he is. You know what I mean? I think as fans, we've also got to learn to stick with players as well. And I see a little bit of rumblings now with Guendouzi. As soon as he has a bad game, he's 19 years of age. Give these players a little bit of a break. Iwobi's had it for the last couple of years. And all right, he had a bad game yesterday, Iwobi, but he still puts in a shift, worked hard. And you're not always going to play well, but what could happen if you're not playing well is you can put in the work rate. And I think never ever can you question that about Aaron Ramsey's work rate, as whether he's played well or not. He's always put in a good shift, put his body on the line, covered every blade of grass, and he done that yesterday as well. Got us the goal, and he's our first proper captain for a long while as well. And I like the way something happened with the ref. He's pulled. Don't do that again. It's just. But I think there's a few things. We just got to suck it up now. He's not going to be there next season, as you say. He's going to go to Juventus. Who, all right. I see what Harry's saying. It's a step up as far as in European and things are concerned, but as far as the league's concerned, you know what I mean. There's only one team in it. We'll see how good Napoli are in a week's time or whatever. But as Harry says, they romp the league every year, so he's going to pick up some medals, and not only that, he's going to pick up a lot more money than what he's on. Without being negative, because I'm trying to be positive all the time, is in the next 2-3 years, is he going to pick up Premiership titles at Arsenal? I very much doubt it. You know what I mean? So, with Man City doing what they're doing, so you know, it's a good move for him as well. I think that, you know, what's disappointing from us, our point of view, is we ain't got no money for him, Craig. That's the disappointing thing about it. Otherwise, you'd be sort of wishing him well. But I'm glad that he's gone to a European side, not a Premier League side. If I'll be honest, that sits a lot better with me. So I can only just wish him the best and hope he wins loads of trophies. And I'll certainly be a Juventus fan next season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you both knocked it on the head really well there, really. But yeah, you know, like I said, I was probably one of the ones that gave him stick for the last 2 years, and perhaps it's only just now that you know. But I just find it strange that he's playing so well after this contract's been signed. You know, after he's leaving. You know, if he'd have started playing like this when he weren't linked with anyone, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. My man of the match last night, I could have given it to 3, but my man of the match, I'm going to have to go for Laka. Again, totally outstanding last night. That goal he scored was just... The finish was just sublime. World class. I'll have to give Aubameyang a shout there for the header as well, because that was a hell of an assist. Especially when you see it replayed. Harry, how good was Lacazette last night?
Yeah, he was good. He was always working, and that was the thing for me. In the first half, he didn't get that much joy, apart from that chance, obviously, that he that got cleared off the line. But he constantly was running into those channels and chasing every single ball down. And it's a little bit difficult when you're playing in that position on your own, because what happens is, when we're playing those diagonal balls, he's sort of chasing into the channels, and then he picks up the ball kind of in the areas where you don't really want him to have it. You want him to be in the middle waiting. So I thought he'd done really well to plug away at it, and in the end he got his reward with the goal. But for me, Lacazette's work rate this season has been exemplary, and I would have probably said last season that maybe that's where he was lacking. So I don't know what's happened. I don't know why he's in. Well, obviously it's down to Emery, but it feels like he's had a real kick up the arse, Lacazette. I don't know if the fact that him and Aubameyang are great friends, but I think there's a healthy rivalry there as well, because as we've seen, they're not going to both play every week. So there is a bit of a healthy rivalry there, and I like that, and I think it's given them both a kick up the arse, to be honest. And Laka's getting better and better for me in an Arsenal shirt.
Yeah, I mean, people in the chat are saying Ozil was man of the match, Ozil was man of the match. Yeah, I mean, we spoke off air. I did say to Lee it was between Ozil and Lacazette for me, but I've gone for Laka, and I'm sure Lee is probably going to go for Ozil as well. But Lee, talk to me. You were at the game last night. Did you watch Lacazette closely?
Yeah, I do. I've always been impressed. My player of the season, if I'll be honest. I think over from day one to now, I think his work rate, he sets the tone of the team. I also think that, as Harry just said, they're playing up on your own. He's up against some big, sturdy defenders as well. He holds his own. He's better hold up play than Aubameyang, if I'll be honest. He competes for every ball. And he sets the tone for the team. I really do believe that. The work rate. He chases long passes, which he's got no right to get hold of, and makes good balls, bad balls into good balls. I think he's been brilliant. And for me, man of the match, I think it's a real difficult one for me. I thought Mesut Özil was outstanding, Lacazette outstanding, and Ramsey. And I really find it very hard to choose which one out of all three, because you've got all three of them have got good pluses going for them. Ramsey scoring, Lacazette scoring, Ozil pulling the strings. I know that Ozil got it from Sky and Alan Smith. So but I think Lacazette, because he was up front on his own, probably might just sway it. But I have to say, watching Mesut Özil yesterday and getting into those little pockets and making things happen, I don't think we would have beaten Newcastle if he weren't playing yesterday, if I'll be honest, because he was the one that just give us that little bit of X factor, if you know what I mean. So I probably would go for Mesut Özil because of that fact. I think really, I don't think if you say Lacazette and Harry says Ozil, I don't think none of you are wrong. You know what I mean? I think it's really on opinions today what you actually think I think it's that close. I think all three of them were outstanding yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, player of the season for without a doubt. If he doesn't win player of the season, then something wrong. Get your questions into the chat box as soon as you can. We're going to have a little chat about something else, and then we'll come to your questions. Thanks for the donation, Jamie. Thank you very much indeed. And Jamie says Ozil is alive. He is. He is. It's alive. Perhaps Emery has had him on a table, sticking probes in him, trying to wake him up a bit. So top four. I said yesterday on Twitter. I said it I think it was a couple of days ago. I said that for me, if Unai Emery made the top four, it would be a miracle. That he makes the top four. And I say that because we've had Chelsea spending money. In my opinion, Tottenham have got a better start in 11 than us. Not squad, better start in 11 than us. Manchester City have got oil money. Liverpool have spent a lot of money. Manchester United probably got a few better players in positions than us. Now, I think we've got the worst squad in the top six. So for Arsenal to get into the top four and stay there, with Emery coming in his first season in the Premier League, with a team that didn't really do much, with a team that needed a kick up the arse, is what we've said. He's come in, he's done all that. And if he finishes in the top four, for me, Lee, it's a miracle.
I'm not saying it's a miracle. I think that.
Okay, let me say this here. We all sat here and we said that if we got into the top four, we all sat here at the start of the season and we said if we got in the top four, we'd be happy. And in the back of our minds, we were thinking, but it ain't gonna happen. You know. I mean, we sat here and we said that we could finish 6th, 7th, 8th. You know? But here we are now, 3rd. So surely, it's a miracle.
Well, we're 3rd at the moment. We're doing fantastically well to be 3rd. What a miracle is Leicester winning the league. That's a miracle. You know what I mean? Like if Arsenal was to win the league.
But was it? They beat everyone.
Well, yeah, so you can't say that's not a miracle, and then
Arsenal winning the league will be a bloody miracle.
Well, that's not going to happen either. But you can look at it as two ways now. With our running, realistically, we should be favourites to get top four. But I'm not that confident at the moment. So you could turn around and say, yeah, it's a miracle to get us into this position. But if he messes it up now, then who are you going to blame? I still feel that I listened to what Emery said today, and I agree with him. Spurs and Man United are going to win lots of games because they've got easy games. There's no easy games in the Premiership, but they're winnable games. We've got some really tough games, but if we produce some performances, we haven't kept a clean sheet away from home. We've got to start. If we are to get into the top four, we've got to start addressing that, and that is going to teams like Everton and Watford and not conceding. That's not going to be easy.
Wolves as well,
not going to be easy. Leicester, not going to be easy. So I still feel at this moment in time that even though we're 2 points clear of it, I don't feel that we're favourites to get into the top four because of our away form. But if we address that, and what I feel that we are, the reason we're the best, one of the best teams at home, is because we've got one of the best attacking teams in the league. Facts. That's why we're up there scoring goals. One of the reasons why we're not doing well away from home is because we've got one of the weakest defences, and when you go away from home, you've got to defend. So what I've seen in the last couple of games, I've seen improvement. I've seen the way we played against Spurs was a massive improvement. So, there's still with me the unknown.
Yeah.
An unknown of Arsenal, you know. Yeah, I feel that if we could go on and play like what I feel that we're going to, at this moment in time, I'm really looking forward to Sunday because I think it's going to be a massive, massive indication of where we're going to be. If we go up there and produce a performance and get a 2-0, 2-1 win or something like that, and I'm going to look at it and go, yes, we're there. We're in touching distance. But if we crumble like we do, I think. Andy Cole said it on Monday Night Football. Arsenal give away too many silly goals. If we can cut that out with our attacking form, we should be very, very comfortable and very confident of going into the top four. Listening to what Lacazette yesterday said, he's not confident. I don't know if you heard him say that. He said we're not confident, but we're going to work hard and trying to achieve it. You know, I feel that that the players also know that they've got to perform in these next couple of away games. And looking at it, I'm desperate for Wolves to win tonight. Desperate for Palace to get something at Spurs to just give us that little bit of a cushion going into those games. Now, for instance, if we go into Sunday still in third place, I think that'd be a massive plus for us. Massive, massive plus for us to go and do that. But the chances are we could be in fifth place come Sunday. Pressure on a little bit, like, you know. So I still think it's going to be tough at this moment in time. I'm not going to put a lot of money on it that Arsenal would get in it, but we've put ourselves into a great position, and it's up to us now. You know what I mean? It's up to Arsenal and their back four and defensively and as a team to see if they can do it. You know, it's in our hands. You know, and as I say, like, you know, I still feel that we need a cushion of another couple of points. But 2 points at this moment in time might be good enough.
Well, thanks, though, because you made it sound like it'll be a miracle.
No.
No. You just made it sound like it'll be a miracle if we get in the top four.
Listen, so. we're in a great position, and I feel, you know, like, I'll tell you what, how can you say it? Like 4 or 5 weeks ago, I don't give a monkeys what anybody would have turned around. If we'd have sat here 3 weeks ago and you'd have said on the April the 1st, Arsenal would go above Spurs, you'd have been laughed at. You know what I mean? Like, take it to the funny farm. Yeah. But for that to happen shows you that anything can happen. You know, so we've turned it around. You know, like, so listen, it's in our hands. Am I confident? No. I'll tell you what somebody said to me yesterday, which is a massive thing. Like, you know, going over to the game yesterday. Oh, a little bit edgy and that. No, this is a different team. It's under a different regime, different team, different everything. You know, we're going to mess this up. No, we're not. I think that there's something. I've seen something in the Arsenal. I see it yesterday that there is a change, and I know the pundits and everybody are not quite willing to give us any praise yet. But I've seen it, and do you know what? As tough as it is, and I say this now as I'm sitting here now, if we beat Everton and Watford, then we will get top four.
Harry, what would you say about that? What about what I said?
It's, for me, it's not a miracle if we make the top four, and there's a few reasons why. The first reason is, and I don't want to keep going back to Arsene Wenger, but Arsene Wenger was relieved of his job, and let's have it right, that's what happened. He was relieved of his job because we were underachieving, not overachieving, or not achieving what we were expected to. We were underachieving by not being in the top four. Therefore, the club felt that we had the tools to finish in the top four, and Arsene Wenger wasn't delivering that. Therefore, he was moved on. So that's the first point. I think we were clearly underachieving, not overachieving, or even meeting our targets, and that's why there was a change in management. So for me, it's very hard to say it's a miracle when I think it's what was expected. The second point is, if you look at the players we do have, if you probably look at the top 4 strikers in the Premier League now, we've got 2 of them. So we've got that. We've got Mesut Özil. We've got Aaron Ramsey, who's on brilliant form. And we've got Bernd Leno, who I think's been brilliant of late, a goalkeeper that I was a little bit unsure about at the start, I'll be honest. He's adapted to life pretty well. I think Sad Kolasinac has proven to be one of the best wing-backs in the league this season, very effective going forward, so that's another plus point. I also think you've got to look at the context of the season, and there's a lot of factors that you have to take into account when you're deciding this. So, first of all, Chelsea are in decline. They've been in decline since Antonio Conte first won the league that first season. After that, it all went tits up for them, and it's still going that way. For me, Sarri, watched a lot of him in Italy, think he's a good manager, but it's a big job for him, and I can't see him doing it. So Chelsea have fallen off the wagon a little bit. Then you've got Manchester United, who, we're above Man United, but let's be frank, Manchester United had such a bad first half of the season that they sacked their manager. So at one stage they were 11 points behind us, weren't they? So to now be above them is expected. We were 11 points ahead of that team. They shouldn't be above us. So that's why I can't really take that as being a miracle. And the only other thing I want to say is, obviously in conclusion, I don't think it's a miracle, but the other thing I want to say, the other thing I want to say is that I feel like in the last few weeks, obviously since we got that result at Spurs, and obviously the gap between us has been slowly getting smaller and smaller, I think there's a real danger of us getting obsessed with catching Spurs and being above Spurs. Arsenal's objective at the beginning of the season was to finish in the top four. And if that means we finish fourth and Spurs finish third, we've still achieved our goals. And we shouldn't put a downer on it if Spurs finish above us. That's what I'm trying to say. That our aim has always been the same. If we finish above them, it's a bonus and happy days. Of course, we'll all enjoy it. We'll sing It's Happened Again. We'll celebrate St. Totteringham's Day and all that. And that's great. But our goal is to make the top four and to finish in the Champions League positions and to get in that competition whatever way. So there's a real danger at the moment, and I'm seeing it with some Arsenal fans, like we all have a bit of banter and we say, it's happened again and all that. But there's a long way to go still, and that is a sidetrack, and it shouldn't be in our thinking at the moment. It's about doing what we got to do.
Very true. But as I said to, someone had a go at me on Twitter for doing that, and I said, well, I'm going to live for the day. I'm going to live for the day, live for the moment. We've gone back above them. This is their best team since '61. Power shift and all that business, and look what's happened. For me, it would just be utterly fantastic if we finished above them. Because if we finish above them this year, I don't want to hear one Spurs fan talk to me about power shift ever again. Because just you're wasting your time. We all know what's going to happen. We all know that it's going to happen again. It's just the way it goes. You're shit. You've always been shit, and you always will be shit. And now you're playing in a stadium that resembles a toilet, and you're the little shits running around in the toilet. So there you are. Let's go to some questions. Let's drag this one onto the screen here. Here we go now. This one's from Archie. Thank you very much for your question, Archie. And Archie asks, we've been linked with Ryan Fraser today. What are your thoughts on that, gents? Start with Lee.
Ryan Fraser, who's he?
Harry, we'll start with you. Ryan Fraser.
He's that tricky winger at Bournemouth, isn't he?
He plays for Bournemouth, Lee.
That's right. Ryan Fraser, he's a decent young player, and he's probably going to go on and improve further. But for me, I think for the money that it would cost to take him away from a Premier League team, and do that sort of internal move, there always seems to be added price. I think you can find better on the continent, if I'm being honest. I think there are better players in Italy and Spain that you could probably get for half the price. So I'm not overly infused by that rumour, to be honest. He's a decent player, but he's not going to pull up any trees, and I'm not that bothered, to be honest.
Okay.
Why didn't you say Ryan Fraser of Bournemouth? I know you're on about that, the Scottish lad.
Well, I'm surprised that you didn't know who he was.
Well, I do now. If you said the Scottish player from Bournemouth, I would have got him like that. You know what I mean? So I've been impressed with him, but to be honest, I've been more impressed with the Welsh boy Brooks, the other.
Yes, I like him too. Yeah.
At Bournemouth, if I'll be honest, out of the two. Do we really need somebody like that? He's direct, good.
Is he better than Alex? Is he better than Alex Iwobi?
Well, that's the thing. Is he better than Alex Iwobi? Is he better than Reece Nielsen?
Probably not.
Nielsen, so you don't know, do you? So No, I'm going to say, like, I think, like, if we're going to go for someone, I think, go for someone a little bit more developed as well. I think that you're spending a lot of money on potential there. Good player, but no, not what we. If we're going to go to that next level, mate, I don't want to be giving him a disservice, but for me, I'd go for someone, as Harry was saying, a little bit more experienced.
Okay, Harry, this one is especially for you.
Oh, lovely.
This one comes in from Paul. Thank you very much, Paul, for watching. Thanks for your support. Thanks for your question. Paul says, "Is Harry starting to warm to Emery?" I was on the fence after the Palace game, taking Lacazette off as well, and I was on the fence after the Palace game, after he took Lacazette off. Strange team selections, but he's starting to change my mind. Harry,
it's I've warmed to him more than I was, and I think the last month or so and the last few weeks has definitely done that, because he's turned things around and he's got big results, and these results ultimately are going to be the difference between us achieving our targets and not achieving them. So I'd be just being an idiot if I was sitting here saying, no, I haven't warmed to him and I haven't thought that he's, improved in some way. I still think there are areas of improvement that can be done, but that I would probably say that about any manager in his first season. So when I look at Emery and I say, I don't agree with this or I don't agree with that, it doesn't automatically mean I want him sacked. It just means that I don't agree with it, and that it's football. That's what people do. So yes, I have warmed to him in the last, probably I would say, since the Spurs game, where before the game I was a bit like, what is this team you've picked, Unai? And then he come out and he done pretty well. So he's stuck to his guns in a sense. I think he still made some mistakes. I think the Ozil thing was a mistake, and I think we're seeing that now. It just depends on the way you want to look at certain things. I still don't think we're good enough defensively. I think that a lot of the clean sheets we've kept have been against toothless sides like Newcastle were last night. So have I warmed to him? Yes, I've warmed to him. Am I 100% convinced about him going forward for the next 3-4 years? Not yet.
this one comes in from Bill. A donation question. Thank you very much, Bill, for your donation. Very much appreciated, sir. He says, what can the club do to improve the atmosphere in the stadium at games? With people getting to their seats at the start of the match, is safe standing an answer? I'd love to see safe standing. I would love to see some safe standing at the Emirates. I think the atmosphere would be induced 100%. If there was safe standing at the Emirates. Perhaps the two bottom tiers behind each goal, safe standing. The bottom tier at the clock end and the bottom tier at the North Bank. Lee, what do you reckon?
I've got to say, I went to Southend Shrewsbury on Saturday and was in the Shrewsbury end. And they had a drum in there, and he did not stop banging that bloody drum from 1 minute to the 90th. And they did not stop singing a whole game, bang bang with this drum, So I must admit, I have to say, maybe a drum or something like that can definitely get going, because it got these Shrewsbury fans. They didn't stop with it, you know what I mean? And it does create a good atmosphere. There was over 6,000 there, nearly 7,000 fans, probably about 300 Shrewsbury, and that's all you heard. So it can be done with just a little small section. I think that, I think they'll have to look at it to do something behind the goals. Is the singing sections and things like that, But I do still think that the atmosphere is slightly improving at the Emirates. So I don't know about what you think, Harry. I think that it's certainly getting a lot.
Oh yeah, because my opinion don't count, Harry, because I sit home and watch it on the telly.
No, I'm just saying that, because I tell you what. Sometimes you watch it on the telly and it don't really give you the impression that there's a lot of atmosphere there, and it'd be interesting to see what sort of atmosphere generates through the telly from the Spurs game, to see that. But I definitely think that the atmosphere is getting better when you're playing football like they did yesterday. I think that does do something for it, I have to say. But the atmosphere The Chelsea game was fantastic this season. The Tottenham game was electric. Liverpool game, the Rennes game was fantastic for atmosphere as well. I do feel that it is improving. But listen, when you say about safe standing, if you go behind the North Bank and the clock end, they all stand anyway. So you know, it's just that it's like with when I go with my mates, there's 3 or 4 of us in one bit, 2 or 3 of us in another, one in another bit. We're not all together, like, we all go to the pub, all go, and then when we get to the ground, we all go to different parts of the ground. You know, so like even when you're away from home, if you get tickets here and tickets there, you always generally say, right, so you can just move closer to each other or whatever, But so I think that maybe that's something that they've got to look at, so that everybody gets together and starts singing in that way. But I think it's always going to be an issue when you've got a lot of corporate sort of stuff as well. You go, if you watch Wembley games, the game kicks off second half, those corporate seats are always empty. So I think the corporate side of things is just always going to dampen down the atmosphere anyway, wherever you are now. Like they go on about the famous Anfield atmosphere. It's nowhere near like it used to be. So Old Trafford's gone now. Like Old Trafford's got no atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about atmosphere coming through on the telly. It does. What I do when I'm watching the game is I crank up the telly, because I've got the kids there and I'm trying to get them into it and this, that, and the other, and teaching them songs and stuff like that. The Harry Redknapp one and all that. But you can hear the atmosphere in the telly, and especially the Tottenham game. Yeah, it was brilliant. The telly cranked up, was singing away, and it was brilliant. The Chelsea game, like you said, was brilliant. The Rennes game is brilliant. It does come through on the telly. It really does. But I think, like you said, Lee, safe standing behind both goals where you can go in with your mates, you're all together, it'd be like being on the terraces again. There's already a feel-good factor of being on on a terrace, I mean, like I go up and watch Cork City here. I've been a season ticket holder for a number of years. And even when I go away from home with Cork City, there's only about 150 of us. And we go into, there's small stadiums over here, granted, maximum capacity 8,000. But 100 of us can make more noise than 4,000 of the home fans, So like you say, it can be done. Harry, what would be your opinion on safe standing at the Emirates?
I like the idea. I like the idea of safe standing. The only thing is that, like Lee said, because I sit in the North Bank in Block 6, where supposedly where the red action bit is, and everyone stands anyway. And I don't think that it's the fact that we're standing or not standing that's the problem. I think it's a bit of a culture thing. I think football's just changed. I think there's people next to me that would rather, the second half's the half's about to end, the first half, and they'll go in for a beer and they'll go in and queue up 5 minutes before the end of the first half, and then you won't see them again till 10 minutes into the second half. It's a real problem after half time, and it's not just at the Emirates. I was at West Ham and I saw it at West Ham the other day. So it happens everywhere because people seem to be more obsessed with going and getting a drink at half time, and that's fine. Go get a drink at half time, no problem. But you're at a football match, it's a 90-minute football match, and you're spending at least 15 minutes of it not in your seat because you're doing something else. And it just, for me, I don't know, some people look at football slightly differently. Some people look at football as a social thing. So it's about going there, having drinks with your mates, whatever, and then the game is there, but it's the game. Whereas other people, like I know Lee does both. Lee likes the social side of it, but Lee also watches the game and comes and analyzes the game. But there are some people that they just don't care about it. And then I'm a bit of a nerd when I go to football. I want to get in the ground early. I want to watch the team warm up. I want to watch at half time.
I'm like you.
I want to see them warm up. I go with my mates sometimes, and it's like half an hour to kick off, and I want to go in and then, what's wrong with you? I want to see the warm up. At half time, I want to see who's jogging about. I want to see what's going on, and I think it's just different people's views on it and different. It's a culture thing, so you get different people want to do different things, and I think there are too many people that miss too much of the game for other reasons, like they want to drink, and that's fine, man. Have a drink, no problem. But if I'm in the queue for a drink and there's 5 minutes till the second half's about to start, and I ain't getting served in that 5 minutes. I'm going back in the ground, and that's fine if that's what people want to do. That's fine, but you can't get that atmosphere at the beginning of a second half because of that reason, and I do feel that's a big problem.
That's a good point, actually. Good point.
I've got 3 mates that have never seen kick-off.
Really?
Never ever.
I believe it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, they're always staying in a pub. They get in there 5 minutes before it's all started. Like, Mike's missed about 50 goals in his time. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Like, do you know what I mean? But that's what they do. You know what I mean? And like, they got the geezer on the end. Apparently, I was talking to Dave. He gets yumped because the bloke on the end. He's in his seat ready to go, you know, for the game, and then they come for it.
Everyone's got to stand up.
He's up and down like a bloody yo-yo, you know what I mean? So, but that's the way they are, you know what I mean? They ain't going to change them. They've done it, you know. But I'm like Harry. I'm saying I'm going, and many a times if I'm with him, I have to walk down on my own because I want to get in. I like to get there. I'm not like Harry that gets there for the warm up and all that, like, but I like to get there just as they're coming out. You know what I mean? Like, I like to, you know, I don't like being a couple of minutes late. You know what I mean?
No, but, I'd be like Harry. I'd be like Harry in the ground half an hour before kick-off. Take it all in.
There was a game a couple of seasons ago where I got to the stadium and my membership card wasn't working. And then there was 15 minutes to kick off, and then I had to go to the box office and get them to reactivate my card and come back. And I was going crazy. I was like, bloody hell, I'm going to miss them. The team's coming out. What am I going to do? Like, it was, to me, it's a big deal. And it's fine if people don't see it like that. But I just think when the ground's half empty at the start of the second half, inevitably the atmosphere is going to drop. And the thing, you know, with people getting up to let people through in the road, where I am, because we're standing, that's not really a problem. Because people just walk past you, and that's absolutely fine. But like you said, Lee, there's 2 guys that are in front of me, and I don't think they've ever got there before the 15th minute of a game.
It's crazy, you know what I mean? It's the way it is, you know. And like you've also, you know, I was talking to a fella yesterday. I have to leave 5 minutes before the end because I've got to catch the train. You know what I mean? Like the fast train that gets me home. If I don't get on that, I'll get home at 1 o'clock instead of 12. And I know it's unbelievable, but if he goes 5 minutes before the end, he gets home at 12. If he stays to the end, he gets home at 1 o'clock in the morning. So it's a big, you know, that 5 minutes makes an hour's difference. One's a fast train, one's are not. But you know, it's 1-0. It's tense yesterday, and he's gone. Do you know what I mean?
No, I couldn't do it. I'm getting home at 1. I'm getting home at 1 o'clock.
If I have to get home at 1 o'clock, I'll get home at 1 o'clock. You know what I mean? Like, because for me, it's, you know, it is about Arsenal winning the game. You know what I mean? And like, you know, you see so many last-minute goals. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, do you imagine if he was at Anfield that game, he misses that last-minute winner, and you know, that's what. Sometimes, you know, like the Leicester game, you know, when we score in the last minute when Danny Welbeck jumps into a lot of people miss that because they're catching their train home or whatever. Like, you know, for me, I don't understand it, but you know, but you can't criticise these people. They go every game, and if it means getting home at that sort of time, you know, so be it. Like, you know.
And also one last point on that. Sorry. Sometimes, like, I think that people look at me and they think, why is this guy not singing? But there are times I'm so engrossed in the game and I'm watching like shapes and I'm proper trying to take it all in that it goes over my head and I'm in my own zone. And I can imagine there are people that look at me and they're like, the whole North Bank singing, and they're like, why is this guy just standing there? But it's genuinely just because I'm so engrossed in the game.
He's a tourist. Look at the tourist. Look, he doesn't know any songs.
Yeah. Sing, Harry, sing.
Come on, sing us a song, tourist boy. Come on. Yeah. Well, sadly, brings us to the end of tonight's show, and what a great one it's been. I'm just so pleased that my computer's held out.
I did today. I went down.
I know. But I think I finally. I think I might have finally found the problem, and I fixed it, and everything's going very well. So that means that we'll be able to carry on for the rest of the season, which is good.
Yeah,
brilliant. Thank you to all of you who have been watching live. Sorry about the time change. I understand there's a few of you are coming into the chat box now going, what's going on here? Expecting us at 7:30. My apologies. 6:30 had to be the time today. because I've got to go somewhere else straight after this. So thank you very much for coming, and sorry about the time change if you're all coming in now. But good thing is you can all watch it again. You can go and watch it on YouTube. It should be processed in about half an hour's time. Or you can watch it after the game. I know a lot of you are going to go and watch some football now.
Come on the Wolves.
Come on the Wolves, yeah.
Come on,
I might even get to see a few minutes of that myself. So that's what we'll be doing. We will be back next Monday, hopefully, talking about another 3 points. Hopefully, we'll still be in the top 4.
And the Grand National.
And the Grand National. Oh, go on.
No, just saying. Like,
Lee's going to the Grand National.
I am going to the Grand National. Yeah, I've been bit of hospitality. In the
Grand National. Surprise!
Here we go.
Yeah, and it happens to be on the weekend that Arsenal are playing Everton, so it's worked out bloody marvellous. The old judgy charm.
Lee, when was the last time you went to a sporting event and you sat in the cheap seats?
Southend Shrewsbury.
That's because they don't have cheap seats.
I quite impressed you at the weekend, didn't I, when you sent me that picture?
I was unbelievable. A few struggled on it. I thought I'd have them a few, but
well, the only reason I recognise it is because I played there.
You played there, yeah. You played there, and Tony picked up on it straight away, so it ruined it on one group. But you But I'll tell you what, I've got to say, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed going down watching a bit of old school football.
Lower league football, mate. Lower league football. Real football.
Proper football.
Yeah.
Proper football.
So when I
proper tackles going in.
Absolutely.
Players talking to fans.
Yeah.
Don't get that at the Emirates.
No, you certainly don't. Not unless you've got the right name, anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Share it on Twitter. Like it on Facebook. Subscribe if you're new. Smash the like button, yo. All that malarkey. I'll let you know tomorrow if we made the final or not for the FBAs. We will find out tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be able to sleep at night.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, yeah. Fingers crossed. So, yeah, we'll see you next Monday, hopefully.
As finalists.
As finalists, yeah. As finalists. Until we see you all again, up the Arsenal.
Ah, you Gooners.